And right now from HollywoodInToto.com, Christian Toto is with us on the program. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I am excellent. Now, I do have to confess to you right offhand, I didn't watch the Oscars last night, but as I said, you don't even really need to anymore. It's just this sort of cultural osmosis that, I was just checking my Twitter for a couple of minutes, and I got the theme of the night, Christian. There was a lot of it was a lot of political speeches, a lot of talk of gender equality and wage equality, and that was an American Sniper did not win Best Picture.
And a lot of Z's too for people who are watching, probably zoned out or fell asleep along the way.
Really? Just didn't. Do you think overall it was not a great performance, not a great production by Hollywood?
Well, almost anything that runs 3 hours and 44 minutes, by its very nature, is not going to leave us wanting more. So it always goes long. It went crazy long last night. So there's that. But also the jokes, a lot of them just fell flat. Neil Patrick Harris is a charming guy. I think he's good as a song and dance man. And I have not seen his Tony hosting capabilities, but I understand he's very good in that role. But here, I don't know whether the joke writers failed him or what the deal was, but he just didn't measure up to the greats. That's for sure.
Well, this was this again. I'm showing my ignorance here of the award shows. Was this his first time with the Oscars?
With the Oscars, yes. He's done other shows, but this is the big time.
All right. I'm still just amazed that Doogie Howser is hosting the Oscars. That's just, poor Vinny. I just feel bad for Vinny. What's Max Casella doing? What was he doing last night? Was he a seat warmer at all, Christian?
I think he applied to but didn't get the gig. But, he's actually, I don't want to say he's an in-demand character actor, but I definitely will watch movies now and then or TV shows and go, oh, there he is. So
and he's still working.
He's still working. So
good.
Doesn't have the spotlight as bright as Mr. Harris, but he's still plugging away, getting a paycheck.
Well, hey, that's the goal, right? And we haven't heard about him. He didn't Lohan out, right? He didn't. He's not one of those, those former child stars who couldn't make the transition to adulthood. So
yeah, no, he's actually done quite a good job, and no headlines is good news for him.
Hey, I'd say you can't ask for anything more as a working actor in Hollywood. Now you do have a piece of the Federalist right now. I thought it was really interesting. Hollywood learns to stop worrying and love the gun. Now, they're still all in favor of gun control legislation, but as you point out, that moment in Hollywood, after the murders at Sandy Hook Elementary, the introduction of gun control legislation, there was a lot of self-proclaimed soul-searching done by a lot of Hollywood types, and we were going to see a different Hollywood, weren't we?
We were, and then it turned out we're going to see the very same Hollywood. So not much has changed, and actually, I think the embrace of gun violence in movies has kind of had an uptick in recent years for a lot of the reasons I mentioned in the article, including some actors you wouldn't think as gunslingers who are slinging a lot of lead these days, including Salma Hayek and Sean Penn.
Right, that's because Sean Penn, you point out, he actually melted all of his guns down and wanted to make a statue, some anti-gun statue.
Yeah, he started dating Charlize Theron, and she's a pretty strong anti-gun advocate, and I guess she convinced him that he should get rid of his guns, and he did so in a very public way. And he called them cowardly killing machines. I think that was the term he used for guns. But now he's got I think it's a few weeks away, called The Gunman, where he's playing a guy who's obviously pretty familiar with guns. Now, you could certainly have a gun as a character on screen, and there's not a direct line of hypocrisy. But I think when movies really glamorize the gunplay and show the good guys winning the day with lots of bullets, I do think you get into some pretty tricky terrain.
Well, and then you bring up Liam Neeson, who I think this was a perfect example of this. Liam Neeson, as you point out, continues to be an action star into his 50s, not because he's a kung fu master, not because he carries a gun, right? And he's believable as an actor with a sidearm.
Yeah, and he snaps limbs in addition to slinging some guns. But yeah, that's his. He really has resurrected his career. Now, he was never struggling as an actor, but now he's an in-demand movie star because he's an action hero, even though he's about early 60s at this point. So, and a lot of that involves gunplay.
And yet he made comments recently that, gun control is just wonderful. He doesn't understand America, doesn't understand why we have gun ownership, would love to see all, and was then, I think, just sort of dumbfounded when a lot of people pointed out, Liam, you seem to be sending some mixed messages here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, a lot of times actors, when they talk, when they get on a soapbox, they don't expect to be challenged, because often they're not. And I think last night's Oscars telecast was a great example. You had several different people give political speeches because who's going to debate them when they're at the podium? No, they get to say what they say. They step off. They take their trophy home with them, and that's basically it. So, it's almost a perfect forum to kind of speak your piece without having any sort of a counter argument made to your point.
Talked with Christian Toto from Hollywood. And Toto, we also talked about Harvey Weinstein, who had said that he wasn't going to make these types of movies anymore. It just wasn't, he had to think about the responsibility that he had to society at large. And yet you point out, apparently, Hateful Eight by that noted nonviolent director Quentin Tarantino is still in production with Mr. Weinstein, right?
Yeah, it's this is a mainstream media fail, because if I'm a reporter and I've got Mr. Weinstein either on the phone or right in front of me, we're doing a movie chat. Now, there's lots of things to talk about with Weinstein. He's a very powerful producer. He's a very good producer. He makes some very high quality films. But you've got to ask him about that. He's gone on the record with these very strong statements and never even remotely backed them up. That's the kind of question you have to ask him to see what he says.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, he said he was going to make a movie. It was real specific. Meryl Streep was going to star. I think we had a name, right? The name wasn't it going to be called The Senator's Wife?
Yeah, and we haven't heard many details about it. That's the kind of movie that's on my direct radar, and I haven't heard a peep about it. Now, it may still be going into production. Maybe it's stalled. Maybe it's been shelved. I don't know, but he certainly made a very splashy announcement about the film itself, and since then, it's been almost radio silence.
Talking with Christian Toto from Hollywood and Toto. Well, let us know, Christian, if you get a whiff that movie's going into pre-production or that it's coming out. We'll see. I'm guessing we'll see Hateful Eight first, though.
That's right. That's coming. Probably is going to hit theaters a bit sooner. Another quiet poem-like movie from Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, I watched Django Unchained actually this weekend because I hadn't seen it yet, and there was, again, you're right, not a lot of violence in that movie. It was really character-driven.
Yeah, it's like a Merchant Ivory movie where they kind of just drink tea and they talk about their feelings.
Right, just like that. Quentin Tarantino is the new Merchant Ivory, I think. Listen, hey, thanks so much for coming on the program, Christian. So I got to ask, as far as the Oscar production went, it sounds like meh. What did you think about the big winners?
Mostly what we expected. I think, J.K. Simmons for Best Supporting Actor, richly deserved. The bottom line is that there are so many award shows leading up to the big award show that we pretty much can tell who's going to win by who won all those previous trophies. So not too many surprises. I did like Lady Gaga. We don't think of her as a great singer, but she belted out a Sound of Music tribute that was wonderful. And, of course, Julie Andrews came on stage and kind of gave her a hug. It was a very genuine moment, full of artistry, not shock, and it was very refreshing.
All right, well, I'm kind of sorry that I missed Lady Gaga, I suppose.
It's not what you think.
All right. Well, I will look that up online. That's the great thing, right? Is that I don't have to watch all 3 hours and 44 minutes. I can just look up the highlights.
I wish someone had told me that a couple hours ago.
Well, listen, Christian, I appreciate you coming on the program. It's always a pleasure spending time with you, sir.
Thanks.
Christian Toto from HollywoodInToto.com. Look forward to talking with Christian again very soon, and I look forward to probably not watching most of the movies that were nominated for the Oscars last night.